Hi, in this video, we'll be taking a look at the repetitive registration flag challenge. Basically, what this is all about is following the dry principle, and basically the dry principle is do not repeat yourself, right? When you repeat yourself, copy and paste code, etc., you could it could lead to mistakes, right? So, and also under the OWASP category of improper input validation. So to kind of look at this one, what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the top here. We're going to click on account and we're going to click on login. Okay. We don't actually have a login, but so what we're going to want to do is click on not yet a customer. And from here, we have a typical user registration page. You don't have to put in a valid email in here, obviously, because it's a fake application. So I'm just going to put jesse@me.com. I'm going to put in any password I really want. Actually, I'll just put in, we'll say password. You could get password advice. You could do a security question. What's your mother's maiden name? Okay, so it kind of looks like everything's filled out. We're ready to register. But let's go ahead and take a step back, right? Let's go ahead and maybe mess with these fields a little bit. So if you look here, it definitely needs that after domain. Let's try to mess with the password. Interesting. So basically what we just did was I changed the password here, and this password, see if the passwords match. Now, the only reason I know this, right, is because I've intercepted the request in Burp before. And if you look at, there's definitely a pattern. We'll go over that next in just a second. But basically what ended up happening is the password and the repeat password don't necessarily need to check off. They don't need to be exactly the same. So when I register, it should allow me to just go through, even though I didn't specify that this password and the repeat password are the same. Let's click register and see what happens. Boom. So it just let me register a username, and it let me put in two different fields for the password and the confirm password. Obviously, that input wasn't validated properly, and that's kind of what this one's all about. Let's take a look at it in Burp Suite. Okay, so I have, whoops, what's going over there? Whoopsie doodle. Shouldn't have gotten that error, but basically I have Burp Suite launched now. And what I'm going to be looking at is this request in Burp Suite. We went over Burp Suite previously, so hopefully you're familiar enough with it. I'm going to open the browser, which I've already done here, and I have it tied to the login page. The next thing I'm going to do is make sure that the Proxy Intercept is on, meaning that any request I send to the web server will be intercepted here for evaluation. So let's click on Not Yet a Customer one more time. And we see the request kind of go through, forward it all the way along. And again, you could evaluate this and look at it all you want, but basically we're just forwarding it through until we get to the end where there's no other request waiting on. So now that I have the user registration page, I'm going to register it. We'll just do jesse2@me.com again. And we're going to put in a password. So now you'll notice, and I forgot to display this last time, I put in a different password here where it says passwords do not match. Well, that's because I put in password and then I put in password 1 here. Let's see if I get rid of that one password. Okay, now it's saying they do match, right? But also look here too, 8 to 40. Now this one says 8 to 20, so clearly something was copied and pasted, and this person didn't use the dry principle at all. Let me go back here and see if I can adjust this one now to password 1. And notice how I didn't get that message that the password didn't match. So again, another example of improper input validation. And I'm going to just confirm that my proxy is on. Hopefully it intercepts properly, and click the register button. So it may look like it's not going anywhere. It could be because it's getting held up in the app here. So I'm going to go ahead and forward this along. And we're just going to look for, there we go. So if we kind of get into it, we see that the actual fields that we filled out. This is also not really all that good to have like an easily guessable field, especially if you're not using tokens to protect yourself against something called cross-site request forgery that used to be in OWASP Top 10. But if we look here, we'll see the email, the password, password1, the password repeat password, security question. It just provided ID 2. So again, not very nice setup. Let's click forward, forward, forward. And it looks like it's calling the API one more time, and registration completed successfully. So again, my 2 password fields were clearly not doing proper input validation because it let me put in 2 different passwords. So that's kind of what this is all about. I'm going to turn this intercept off. I'm going to minimize my Burp Suite, and I'm going to go back to my main page, and I'm going to just check the scoreboard now to make sure that that particular challenge registered for me. So if I scroll down, I should see repetitive registration listed here as solved. So also again, like before, you could click here to explore this vulnerability if you wanted to learn more about it. And that concludes that challenge.